Welcome to the African Weekly Roundup, a weekly program every Sunday here on HORUFADHI Media, where I discuss the latest news and events across the African continent. I'm Sultan Mohammed, your host and producer here on HORUFADHI Media. We hope you find this program very informative. Please like, share, and for similar content, do subscribe to HORUFADHI Media. Also, do subscribe to HORUFADHI Media Group's second channel, known as HORUFADHI TV, where you can find exclusive programs just behind the scenes and Salah, among others. And last but not least, do follow myself, Sultan Mohammed, Suleiman Hashi, Yasin Abdi, and the wider HORUFADHI Media team on our social media platforms that should appear on the screen any moment. Let's get straight into the headlines. And we kick off in Sierra Leone, where incumbent President Julius Bio was re-elected for a second term in the first round of voting with 56.17% of the ballots, according to the results released by the Electoral Commission on Tuesday, which have been contested by the opposition and local organizations. Now, international observers noted the, quote, statistical inconsistencies between the partial results and the final results and condemned the, quote, lack of transparency in the ballot count, while calling for peaceful dialogue to resolve differences. Now, the opposition party, All People's Congress, or APC, whose leader Samura Kamara came in second with 41.16% of the vote, said late Friday that it would not tolerate, and I quote, injustice, tyranny of power in Sierra Leone. It issued a series of demands, including the resignation of the electoral commissioners, accusing them of, quote, bias and failure to conduct their duties impartially. The party also called for an election rerun within 6 months, saying that the vote must be overseen by credible individuals and institutions who will ensure a fair and transparent process. It demanded that the resignation of several officials and called on international partners to impose travel bans on what it called dozens of leading figures in power, including the president. It called the current government, and I quote, a dictatorship that is usurping power. APC claims the final results announced do not correspond with the total number cast at each polling station. Now, the results of the local and legislative elections, which took place in the same day a week ago, are expected this weekend. Now, the APC has warned against similar discrepancies in the results of Freetown, where the ongoing mayor is a prominent opposition figure. The National Security Bureau, a government organization in charge of homeland security, has said the alternative results announced by civil society organizations and, quote, the lack of transparency condemned in a joint statement by 6 Western diplomats could provoke, and I quote, harmful consequences and unjustified tension, even though the election was generally calm. Now, staying in West Africa, over to Mali, where the United Nations Security Council on Friday unanimously voted to end a decade-long peacekeeping mission in Mali after the West African country's military government abruptly asked this 13,000-strong force to leave, a move the United States said was engineered by Russia's Wagner mercenary group. The end of the operation, known as MINUSMA, follows years of tensions and government restrictions that have hobbled peacekeeping air and ground operations since Mali teamed up in 2021 with Russia's Wagner Group mercenary group, which was behind an abruptive armed mutiny in Russia last weekend. Now, the UN peacekeepers are credited with playing a vital role in protecting civilians against an Islamist insurgency that has killed thousands, according to recent statistics. Now, some experts fear the security situation could worsen in the country once the mission departs, leaving Mali's under-equipped army alone with 1,000 Wagner fighters to combat militants who control swathes of territory in the deserts north and the center of the country. Now, the 15-member council adopted a French-drafted resolution asking that the mission on Saturday begin the cessation of its operations, transfer of its tasks, as well as the orderly and safe drawdown and withdrawal of its personnel, with the objective of completing this process by 31st December 2023. As the Security Council voted, the White House accused the Wagner leader Prigozhin of helping engineer the departure of the UN peacekeepers from Mali and said it has information indicating Mali's authorities have paid more than $200 million to Wagner since late 2021. Now, Mali government spokesman did not immediately respond to the request for a comment on these allegations. Now, Russia's deputy UN ambassador told the US Security Council that Mali had made a sovereign decision. Now, Mali's government took note of the adoption of the resolution and, quote, will be vigilant in ensuring compliance with the withdrawal time, Mali's UN ambassador. Now, Issa Kunfuru went on to say that his government regrets the Security Council continues to consider the situation in Mali as a threat to international peace and security. Mali remains open to cooperating with all partners that wish to work with it, subject to respecting the guiding principles of our state's policies, said Ambassador Kunfuru. And the Security Council resolution authorized MINUSMA to, within its immediate vicinity, to respond to imminent threats of violence to civilians and contribute to the safety and civilian-led delivery of humanitarian assistance until September 30th of this year. It asks the UN Security General Antonio Guterres to work with the Malian authorities on a plan to transfer MINUSMA's tasks and present it to the Security Council by August 15th, and it calls on Mali to cooperate fully with the UN during MINUSMA's withdrawal. Now, Mali ambassador to the UN, said on Thursday that Mali would closely cooperate with the United Nations. When requesting 2 weeks ago that MINUSMA leave, the Malian Foreign Minister Abdoulaye Diop told the Security Council that there was a crisis of confidence between the UN operation and Mali's government authorities. Now, until 31st December, MINUSMA is also authorized to provide security for UN personnel, facilities, convoys, installations and equipment, and associated personnel, execute operations to extract UN personnel and humanitarian workers in danger, and provide medical evacuations. Now, Mali has struggled to stem Islamist insurgencies in the country that took root following an uprising in 2012, and the UN Security Council had deployed MINUSMA in 2013 to support foreign and local efforts to restore stability. Now, frustrations over growing insecurity spurred two coups in Mali, both in 2020 and 2021. Now over to Eastern Africa, in Kenya, where the death toll from a grisly road crash in Western Kenya rose to 52 on Saturday as rescuers worked to clear the wreckage, where more victims are feared to be trapped. One of the deadliest accidents in Kenya, a truck carrying a shipping container veered out of control and ploughed into multiple other vehicles and people at a busy road junction on Friday evening. The Transport Minister told reporters during a visit to the scene of the disaster, and an investigation was launched to establish the cause. The Transport Minister said about 30 people were injured in the incident on the highway between the towns of Kericho and Nakuru. 30 people have been seriously injured and rushed to various hospitals, and the numbers could be more. But as of now, we are sure it's about 30 people, said the Transport Minister. Now, video footage showed the mangled wreckage of multiple vehicles, doors torn off minibuses and motorbikes crashed into chunks of twisted metal. On Saturday, large crowds of onlookers were at the scene, where the overturned container was stuck in a ditch. Debris was strewn across a wide area, including car seats, piles of fruit, a damaged axle, and even a lone black boot. Now, Peter Otonio, a driver who witnessed the accident, said to international media, and I quote, "I saw a speeding oncoming trailer. I swerved and escaped hitting him head on. The person who was behind me thought I wanted to buy something. He overtook me, and that is when he was hit. The trailer went off the road and hit other vehicles. I saw about 20 bodies with my own eyes. There were about other bodies that were underneath vehicles that I couldn't count," he said. And the death toll makes the accident one of the most deadliest in Kenya's road accident in recent years. Last year, for instance, 34 people died in central Kenya when their bus veered off a bridge and plunged into a river valley. The number of people killed on Kenya's roads has increased in recent years, according to government statistics. Now over to South Africa, where South Africa's corruption watchdog on Friday absolved President Cyril Ramaphosa's allegations that he breached executive ethics in a farm cash scandal that spawned into one of the biggest scandals of his career. The scandal erupted way back in June of last year when the country's former spy boss filed a complaint with the police alleging Ramaphosa had concealed the 2020 theft of about $4 million in cash from his game farm in Falafala in the Limpopo province. An investigation by the ombudswoman, also known as the public prosecutor, found Ramaphosa's handling of the case was not in violation of the Constitution. And I'm quoting this, "Aggregated against the standard imposed by the Executive Ethics Code, it is found that there is no basis upon which to conclude that the president contravened the relevant clause of the law, including the period following the alleged theft of the US dollars," interim ombudsman told a news conference in Pretoria. Now, the Public Prosecutor's Office is an independent state institution provided for the Constitution and reports on a misconduct or any kind of illegal activity within the government, but it has no powers to prosecute. The police is carrying out its own investigation in the farm heist case, which raised accusations of money laundering and corruption by the 70-year-old president. And Ramaphosa, who said $580,000 in cash was stolen, said the money was payment for buffaloes bought by a Sudanese businessman. And the president had denied any wrongdoing, and his office said he was always made the point to abide by his oath of office and set an example in his respect for the Constitution. Now, the prosecutor said it was not part of an investigation to confirm how much money was involved and did not give a figure. Now, the theft was reportedly carried out by a gang of 4 Namibian citizens and 2 South Africans who gained entry into the premises by cutting the wire perimeter and entering through a window of the main farmhouse. A parliament-sanctioned independent panel said last year that he may have committed serious violations and misconduct. Now, Parliament later decided not to initiate impeachment proceedings that could have forced the president of South Africa out of office. Ramaphosa, a former union boss who became a business tycoon after apartheid, stepped into the president's job in February 2018. He came into office promising a new dawn after the scandal rocked the tenure of former President Jacob Zuma. And finally to Ethiopia, where Ethiopia, one of Africa's fastest growing economies, has asked to join BRICS bloc of emerging markets, the foreign ministry said on Thursday. The term BRIC was coined by Goldman Sachs economist Jim O'Neill in 2001 to describe the rise of Brazil, Russia, India and China. And the BRIC powers had their first summit in 2009 in Russia. South Africa joined in 2010, making it BRICS. We expected BRICS will give us a positive response to the request we have made, the foreign ministry spokesman Meles Alem told journalists, according to state-run news agency ENA. Now, Ethiopia will continue to work with international institutions that can protect its interests, he said. The Horn of Africa nation has the second largest population in Africa, but its economy is ranked only 59th in the world, according to the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, and is less than half the size of the smallest BRICS member, South Africa. Now, last year, Argentina, the world's 23rd largest economy, said it had received China's formal support to join the group, which is seen as a powerful emerging market alternative to the West. And the bloc has also previously said that other countries have also applied to join, but not named any to be particular. Now, BRICS countries account for more than 40% of the world's population and about 26% of the global economy. South Africa said on Thursday it would host the next summit in August as planned, amid speculations it could be moved to a country where Russia's President Vladimir Putin would not face arrest over war crimes and accusations. And these are the top stories on the African program this week. Please tune in next week for top stories across the continent.